First off, it's all about the youth, and this is truly in high definition. Today is the second preview of the 12-part opponent video series. I will talk about a team that has gone through much this offseason, much turmoil, much controversy, and that's the 2011 Ohio State Buckeyes. Like in College Park in the last preview I did, there has been much change in Columbus this offseason. And of course, it starts at the top. Luke Fickell takes over for Jim Tressel, who was fired because he lied to the NCAA in the tattoo parlor scandal. When you look at this Buckeyes on the field, where do you begin with the losses / suspensions? Well, the biggest loss on O, of course, is Terrell Pryor. That means they will come into this season with a huge question mark at quarterback. Now, they could go with either senior Joe Bowserman or true freshman Brandon Miller. My guess is they will go with Bowserman over Braxton Miller because he has some experience with this offense. But they do return first-team All-Big Ten running back Dan Herron. However, he will sit the first 4 games of the season because of the tattoo parlor scandal, his role in there. They are excited about the redshirt freshman they have in Rod Smith. It's supposed to be efficient in Herron's absence. Then they will have a very good 1-2 punch at running back once Herron comes back. The receiving core is still loaded. Okay, they do return Posey, who was second on their team last year with 53 catches for 848 yards and 7 touchdowns. But he's another player who was suspended early because of what happened in his role in the tattoo parlor scandal. That cost Tressel his job. Now, with Posey, they're a weakened group, and there's some guys that are going to have to step up. Namely, the 2 sophomores, Corey Brown and Chris Fields. As usual, the Buckeyes are loaded and have experience coming back on the offensive line. But they will not have Mike Adams at left tackle because of, again, the tattoo parlor scandal. Again, one of those players that was suspended for the first 4 games of the season. Even with Adams out, though, this is still loaded with talent. They return seniors Mike Brewster and J.B. Shugarts at center and right tackle, respectively. And also returning is Marcus Hall, a sophomore, who will start in place of Adams until Adams gets back. The weakness they have is at guard. Guys are going to have to take over here on the offensive line is Jack Mewhert and Corey Lindsey. Now, defensively, their line takes a hit with Cameron Hayward gone to the league. And he really was he shined in the Sugar Bowl against Arkansas. But, of course, that was later vacated as was most of all their season because of his role of using an eligible player to parlor scandal. However, like with the O-line, this unit is loaded as well. They get back one of the best defensive ends in the Big Ten Conference in Nathan Williams, who had 4.5 sacks last year. That was a team best. They also get back junior defensive end John Simon, who impressed as a sophomore with 3 sacks and 5.5 tackles for loss. But where they are weakest is in the interior. They're going to have to replace 2 starting D tackles from last year. But they have 2 players that can do that, in junior Garrett Goebel and sophomore Jonathan Hankins. Now, when you look in Columbus, they're very well known for sending out big-time talent at linebacker, and this year will be no different. They have 2 stars coming back in senior Andrew Sweat and junior Sabino at middle linebacker. Joining Sweat and Sabino will be a junior named Storm Klein. But their weakest link on D this year is going to be in the secondary. When you lose an All-American from last year in Chekwa, as well as their other quarterback, Torrance, and a first-teamer in the Big Ten Hiles, that's very tough to replace. To replace three solid people from last year. But they do get one back in Johnson at strong safety. But they're very inexperienced at secondary. Yet that means Travis Howard and Dominic Clark are going to have to step up at corner, and C.J. Barnett is going to have to team up with Johnson at safety. But this is a very weak group at secondary, and they are going to take some hits this year. But even with the losses, to write off the Ohio State, you do so at your own peril. This team is going to get better as the season goes on. Now, except for a trip to Miami on September 17th, 4 of the first 5 games are in Columbus. They get Colorado after the Miami game at home, and they open conference with Michigan State before going to Lincoln the following week to play Nebraska. Now they Michigan to end the year, and they have Penn State and Wisconsin at home. Now when I look at that schedule, there's no reason they can't win 10 games again this season. And therefore, my prediction for the Ohio State Buckeyes in 2011 is 10-2, and they may win the Legends. But we'll wait and see about that. Now, tomorrow, 3 of the 12-part videos preview the Kansas State Wildcats. See you soon. See you then. Bye-bye.